Hi all.
Hey guys.
And we are here at the Sullenberger Aviation Museum, and it just opened a couple days ago, and this is our first time here at this museum. And the reason it's called the Sullenberger because Captain Sullenberger, who flew the flight from New York to Charlotte, he'd landed his aircraft in the Hudson River, and everybody was saved, and no one was hurt, so it's awesome. And the aircraft is here. We're going to take a look at that as well. But yeah, it's our first time here, so let's go. And right when you come in, here's the gift shop here. We'll get our tickets to get inside. Gotta go over here and get it. This is so cool. Yeah, look at the line. But they have all kinds of cool swag here and anything to do with aviation. This should be fun. So we're gonna get our tickets now. So what do you think, Connie?
Wow.
Isn't this cool?
Yeah.
As soon as you walk out, this is when you come in right here. And they do have a thing on Sullenberger. I'll show you that too, but check it out. As soon as you walk in, check out the aircrafts here. And on the front, they'll have the description of the aircraft. This is a training aircraft right here. It's an advanced trainer, and it is a T-28 Trojan. So here's all the stats on it. Pretty cool. So check those out. And we're going to see all kinds of cool stuff here today. They did a great job of refurbishing this whole museum and the contents. And I think they've added more too. So we're going to see a lot of cool stuff here. It's an old trainer right here. That is awesome. It's like a C-130 right there, transport carrier. This was pretty much what they flew out of Charlotte quite a bit. You see it. You'd see like 4 of them flying over Charlotte all the time. They're getting their flight time in. And Connie loves airplanes too, so they're really cool to look at.
Airplanes and cars.
Yeah, and cars. She loves the cars. I love the trains and airplanes, but I love cars too because you know I cover that. I'm going to see what this is. It's a private jet. We'll walk over there and check it out. So this is a Gulfstream 2 right here. Yeah, it looks like they refurbished it. Yeah, personal aircraft right here for somebody. Looks like the space shuttle trainers flew in that as well. Really neat. Here's all the specs to the Gulfstream G2 right here. And there they are right here. Looks like that's when they used to build them at one time. Some of the history of this aircraft. Pretty popular aircraft. And the museum is literally right next to the runway. So hopefully I can get a shot of one of them taking off. There was one earlier right here, and yeah, there's the tower way in the distance, and yeah, right along here, there's the old tower. That's the old tower over there, and they'll take off right here, boom, and go right up. And yeah, it's just taking some time right now to see an aircraft, but we're gonna go inside and check it out, the other stuff, the other planes. And this EC-130E has some history to it. Check it out. Operation Eagle Claw participated in that, transporting remember the hostages from, if you're around that time, the 52 hostages they had in Iran in 1979. This took part in getting them out of there. Check that out. Right there, Operation Eagle Claw, right on the side of it. April 24th, 1980. That's so cool. Yeah, piece of history right here. Wow. It's pretty amazing that was a part of this right here in the museum now. Right here in Charlotte. So cool. distance there, you can see some of the old aircraft, Piedmont Airlines, and some of the older planes. They'll probably will be over here eventually. Yeah, there's some old fighter jets lined up over there as well. But check this out right here. That old little lift thing for the Eastern Airlines. That's pretty cool. Something you don't see anymore. I used to hook it up to the airplane and tow them. Little tow stick there, and then check out these jet engines. Wow, looks like they're still having some work done to them. And in the distance, way over there, you see downtown Charlotte. And these are amazing helicopters right here. And this one here is the CH-34C Choctaw. Marines flew a lot of these for sure. And over here is the CH-3E Jolly Green Giant. Look at the size of him. See where the ramp comes down in the back. Let the troops out. That thing is a giant. It's pretty huge. That was a workhorse, that's for sure. Get another side shot here of the Jolly Green Giant. Yeah, see the airplane's way over there. There's a jet flying in right now. Birds on top of the propeller. That's funny. But yeah, they got these guys over here. Looks like they're still getting some work done to them. Hopefully they'll be over here in the museum soon. Yeah, it's kind of dark in here. Eyes do need to adjust. But this is amazing what they've done in here. Look at the aircraft up there. You got the old Pipers and Cessnas. They got the Oval and Wilbur Wright aircrafts in here too. Wow. This is amazing. I would definitely recommend you guys come here and check it out. So here is the unmanned aerial vehicles, like the drones they use now for search and rescue. A lot of history on that, and also for military use, which is one of the key things they use nowadays. There's a major drone, and DJI inspired the One Pro, but the Harrier jet's amazing. For some reason, I want a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger in there.
Hey, Harry, do you realize that it has in fact been 10 years since you've been behind the wheel of one of these things?
If I break it, they can take it out of my pay.
This is so cool. I just can't get over the lighting, what they've done here. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to go around. And this is your famous F-14 Tomcat right here with the swept wings. Navy used that mostly. That is for sure. Beautiful aircraft. Yeah, also starring in Top Gun was this aircraft. Not this very aircraft, but just a it's always picturing the Jolly Roger in the back there. But again, just the history all along here that you can read. They've done a great job. These are the history of the Carolina women in aviation. Very nice. It's great that you can get like really up close to these aircraft right here and see them. See how big they are. Just amazing technology went into this. The rise of the female aces. Pretty amazing. I think that's awesome. I just can't get over how beautiful this is in here. Just the lighting alone. They also have a simulator that you can get inside. The cockpit's closed right now. Let's see if we get a better shot of it. So yeah, it's temporarily closed, but let me see if I can get a good view of it. I'm gonna raise my camera up. That's neat. And if you want to know what I'm shooting with, inside is my DJI Osmo Action 4. And it's doing great in low light. You got to do some specific settings on it to really pick up the lighting in dark places. Wow. And this is the F-4 Phantom, one of my favorite aircraft. It was a workhorse, especially during the Vietnam War. They had different models. They had like a reconnaissance type F4. They had, of course, the fighter version, and also drop munitions, things like that. All the history's right here. There they are making them in the factory. Kind of shows you in detail the aircraft, all the specs right here. And look at this, Captain Sullenberger. He flew an F-4. Wow, that's pretty cool. Revolutionizing aerial innovation. Yeah, that was in the nose, the F-4 radar. That was in the nose, right up there. Yeah, Westinghouse Electric Corporation built that. It was the says it was the APQ-72. There's the ejection seat and the F-4. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot to read here, and here's the different, how you get Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, anything to do with aircraft and what they did with them. So neat. Pretty cool. Love it. And they do show you the second by second, minute by minute of what happened in New York. And there it is. The U.S. Airways right here. It shows the entire flight time of what happened when it's leaving for Charlotte.
When I was pulling out my book and my head was down. There's no more engine noise. There's silence, and I realized immediately that we were in trouble.
Cactus 15.9, turn left lane 270.
Cactus 1539, the birds to lost thrust and focus through 35 towards LaGuardia.
Someone behind me on the right said the right engine's on fire, and then someone on the left said no, the left engine is on fire. So now you're realizing it's the engines. Oh, this is not good. It's panic at that point.
Hi, Cactus 15.9, could be left traffic to runway 31.
We're seeing the Palisades on the right-hand side and the buildings on the left-hand side getting bigger and bigger.
Do you want to try to go to Teterboro?
Yes.
Teterboro, you look like the Park Sky emergency inbound.
Hey, guys.
Cactus 1529 over the George Washington Bridge, wants to go to the airport right now.
Let's go to our airport. Check. Does he need assistance?
Yes, it was a bird strike. Can I get him in for runway 1?
Runway 1, that's good.
Cactus 1529, turn right 280, can land runway 1.
But all of a sudden, the captain came on and he said, "This is the captain. Brace for impact."
The flight attendants went into a chant of heads down, stay down, brace, brace, brace.
Cactus 15.9, radar contact is lost. You also got Newark Airport up at 2 o'clock in about 7 miles.
Adrenaline kicks in. I was hyper.
Going down.
Somebody behind yelled, "Be ready to open those doors." When they screamed at somebody up by the door, said, "We got it."
Get the water.
Crazy scream sound.
For a couple of seconds, nobody did anything. The captain came down and said, "Evacuate."
I felt water around my feet immediately, and it was cold.
We just followed each other out. People walking on water. I guess I did die. I remember very quickly looking down the river and seeing the first ferry boat coming towards us.
My crew took out 24 people. My deckhands were literally like grabbing them like fish and putting them on the deck.
We know people call this the miracle on the Hudson, but for an investigator, it was just a convolution of things that went right. Good training in the airline that was involved, good oversight from the FAA, a manufacturer that designed a very good and safe aircraft, and in the very end, they managed to land the aircraft successfully. Over 45,000 flights a day occur within the United States. The airspace system here in the U.S. is very complicated and very large. 2.9.
I love that they did the special effects from the film to here when the aircraft hit the water and stuff. But that's what hit the engine right there, is that goose right there. And there's the actual engine that took the damage and brought the aircraft down. Look at that. It's pretty amazing that they pulled this out of the water too. But here it is. Wow. That's the actual engine that sucked that bird in. The actual damage wasn't really here, it was in the back as soon as it went through. See the hole out right here. So when they landed, it ripped that sucker back, the whole wing. That's pretty amazing.
So Sully Sully's going to speak right before noon, so we'll get to get him on video.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, so he is here. Captain Sully is here.
He
So,
is.
cool. We'll definitely get that. So here's one of the main doors where they escaped out of the aircraft. Crazy that this actually went into water for a little bit until they get it back out. Wow. I love this. This is great. So, yeah, so Captain Sully is going to be right here. We'll definitely catch that. Just a little bit. Go over here. Look at the nose of the aircraft. Some of the damage it took. The other engines over here. So maybe this may have been the engine. This is the one that looks like this one took the most damage. So this must have been the strike. I looked at the other one, but then I got this one. I was like, okay, this had to be the one that took the goose right there. Wow. Look at that, all that damage along the side of it. But this, honey, I think is the one. This is one that looks like the one that the goose hit.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's definitely the one that gets smacked.
No doubt about that.
But all along here, it's a whole story.
There was a whole flock of geese, by the way.
It was a whole flock. Yeah.
It wasn't just one goose. It was on both engines.
Wow. Just love seeing all the different aircrafts. That's what we get a main shot of. Here we go. Get a main shot of the U.S. Airways here. Miracle in the Hudson. It's amazing. No one get hurt. Wow. Maybe minor injuries, but thank God there was nobody that died in that landing. He did such a great job landing that aircraft in the Hudson River. Going there again. That's temporary closed too. The cockpit. Just kind of little Cessna here, 150. Trying to get a whole shot of the aircraft. Some more of it here. You can see some more of the damage at the bottom. There's the back of the wing. Fire suit right here too. Get all these artifacts up here.
Yeah. All right.
Just walking around enjoying showing you all this. Here's the back. This is the back that broke off. You see the videos of the aircraft in the Hudson. Here's the back of it. Here it is here. Wow. Tore it right out. And again, all along here, there's just all kinds of cool information of what happened. And this is the YF-102A aircraft. Pretty cool. There are all kinds of information about here. And again, all its different specs of the aircraft all along here. And its designer. There it is. And here is the A4 Skyhawk. It's got nuclear capability too, this aircraft. And then here's another shot of the YF-102A. Slick. Very slick. Check out the nose here. There's another cool shot of the Miracle on the Hudson, U.S. Airways right here. Walk over here now too, so you can see more of these wonderful aircrafts. We got that J-33 engine right here. That's neat. And this is the Regulus. This is a cruise missile right here. Also, don't forget to look up at the ceiling of the different aircrafts up here too. And a lot of times the plaques will be down here, kind of telling you the history of that aircraft and what it did during different conflicts or what its performance was. And like the one here, its activity in the Gulf War. And this looks like a little kid area here where they can participate and build stuff like aircraft with paper, and shows you the effect of wind. Looks like Honeywell did all this. And yeah, it's a cool little workroom where the kids can have a good time with the parents. Check these out. All made out of cardboard. That's cool. That's so neat they have this little area.
My name is Brian Siegel. I'm a board member here at the museum. I was also a passenger on Flight 1549 back in 2009, and I've got two of my fellow passengers, Beverly Waters and Clay Presley here. And what we thought we would do today is just give you, answer a couple questions, have a little discussion about Flight 1549 and what it was like. We'll hopefully have some time at the end for some audience questions, so get those ready if you don't mind. So I'll do a little quick intro. So Clay, back in 2009, Clay was up in New York for business in January. He was the owner and CEO of a company called Carolina Pad, and he was seated in seat 15D, which was on the right-hand side and went out onto the right wing. I was seated in 8E and also went out onto the right wing. Clay is now happily retired, which is great, and in his spare time after the incident actually became a pilot himself. And bought his own airplane and flies. I think you said you have about 1,000 hours or so.
Right.
So far. So Clay, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
And Beverly was traveling home from a business trip for TIAA on January 15, 2009. Still with TIAA in marketing. And she's married, and she and her husband have 3 dogs. Loves traveling, but still doesn't love to fly. And again, that's one of the interesting things when you think about all 150 passengers and 5 crew. We all have had different experiences going in and different experiences coming out. And so there were many people who flew 60 or 70 flights a year. We had a conversation the other night with everybody, Captain Chesley Sullenberger. I'm going to give up my seat to Sully. Real feedback there. How are you?
I heard you're having a party. I didn't want to miss it.
Yeah, well, we couldn't do this without you, of course. So, for those that don't know, really quickly, Sully was born in Texas, and he pursued his childhood dream of aviation and learning to fly since the age of 16. He's a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy. After which he was a pilot for the United States Air Force, and then a commercial pilot for over 30 years, as well as an instructor, and I think many people know an accident investigator, which is truly amazing. Of course, Captain Sullenberger became internationally renowned on January 15th, when he and the crew safely guided Flight 1549 to the emergency water landing in the Hudson River. He's written multiple books, one of which was famously adapted in the Clint Eastwood directed major motion picture Sully. And we are honored and thrilled that he and his wife Lori have agreed, and we're honored to have their name adorn the new Sullenberger Aviation Museum as we really look forward to continuing on their mission of telling the story of this historic moment and making sure that it lives on for generations to come. So Sully, Beverly, Clay, welcome. It's great to have you all here. So as I said, we're going to just ask a couple questions, and then please have some audience questions ready as well. So I'm going to start with this one, which is something that I get asked all the time, and I think we all get asked all the time, which is, what was it like? And I know for me, there's a lot of different answers to that question. What was it like being on a plane where something was obviously going wrong? What was it like hearing Captain Sullenberger say those words? This is the captain, brace for impact. What was it like knowing we were going to land in a river that was, almost frozen? So, and the list goes on and on. So, Clay, maybe we'll start with you. For you, what was it like? knowing that something was not quite right?
I think it depends on which part of the flight you're talking about. The takeoff was actually pretty good. Phil did a great job.
Well, remember, he wasn't flying the plane on takeoff. No.
Jeff Skiles, that was.
Exactly. No, I think, again, when we hit the birds, it was like a bomb went off. If you've seen the film and you hear the noise and you hear the thunder or the big boom that happened, I mean, it sounded like a bomb. It felt like a bomb. It felt like we stopped in midair. And then as you progress through the flight, you become more and more fearful. And I thought about later on as why were you so scared? And it really boiled down to two things. One, I didn't have any control. And number two, I really didn't have an understanding as to what was going on. And as we progress through the flight, you get to the point where you are, you're just so scared that it becomes peaceful. I tell everybody it was a feeling beyond fear. Because at some point, you realize that you're gonna die. You've resigned yourself to the fact that you're gonna die. And there's really a peace that comes over you. And fortunately, at the very end, that proved not to be true. But that's how I usually describe it.
Thank you. Beverly?
I don't know about that piece. I didn't not at all. I was in 21E, so I was in the 5 rows in the back of the plane in a middle seat. And as soon as I heard that boom, I knew something was wrong. People said, did you know anything was wrong? Yes, immediately. And the very first thought that came to my mind was, we're gonna die today. And I had that thought during several things that happened within those few minutes on the plane. We're gonna blow up. We're gonna, someone said fire. I thought the plane was just gonna catch on fire. When he said brace for impact, and I had no idea where we were. I did not look out the window one time. I was in a window seat and I did not look out the window. But when he said brace for impact, just like the first of the movie Sully, if you saw those opening scenes, that's what I thought was happening. That we were just gonna plow into Midtown Manhattan. And then when we actually hit the water, and water came in immediately, I thought, we're trapped and we're gonna drown. So I went through that, I'm gonna die, several times, and each time it didn't happen, but then that next incident came up and I go, okay, this is it, now we're gonna die. So it was constant fear for me.
Yeah, and
starting the evacuation, trying to get 155 people, passengers and crew, out of an airplane in water in a river in January.
So Beverly, for you, what was it like after we landed? You were in the back, and I actually didn't know this until you were just saying it, but I got one of the last seats on the plane, and my boarding pass said 21F, which would have been right next to you. I think you were traveling with Jim Clark, right?
Yes.
And when I got back there, Jim, I think, said to me, hey, do you mind if I just stay here? I think Jim must have been in the wrong seat, or they issued the same seat twice. And so I ended up going back up towards the front and sitting in row 8. Which really changed my experience, because I think, and that's what I want to kind of get into really quickly, if you don't mind just talking a little bit about your experience of, once we've landed and you started feeling water coming up in the plane. I didn't get wet until I went out the window onto the wing, but what was it like for you?
Immediately. I mean, as soon as we hit that.
I don't know if that's you. Okay. Nope, I think we're good.
As soon as we hit the water, I think it's me.
Okay.
The water came in immediately. I felt it. I felt the coldness of it. But backing up to Jim sitting to my right at the window, he was supposed to be in first class, but he chose to sit next to me that day because he knew that I didn't like to fly. And he said, I'll give up that seat and I'll sit next to you. I can't imagine going through that experience with a total stranger. I mean, it would have been, I would have made the best of it, but knowing that I had somebody that I knew next to me that was holding my hand and telling me that it was going to be okay, he was trying to comfort me, but it wasn't working, but he tried. But anyway, as soon as...
I would have tried too.
Yeah. So, and I'm just thankful that I did have somebody that I knew sitting next to me. So as soon as we hit the water, landed on the water, and I felt the water come in, people started just popping up their seatbelts off and We started going to the back of the plane because that's the closest exit for us. And I was just following everybody else. I was in total shock. The guy next to me, Pat Acton, had already disappeared. I don't even know where. I didn't see him until a year later, but he disappeared. And so I just started going to the back, and we just sort of got backed up into the aisle. And of course, water's coming up. You know, it's already rising up to almost my knees as I'm standing there. And we weren't, you know, it wasn't a lot of shoving and pushing. It was just like we were waiting our turn. And we realized we couldn't get out that way, so they just said, turn around and go toward the front. And so we turned around and started walking up toward the wings, and I went out on the left side. Even though I was sitting on the right side of the plane, I ended up going over the left wing. And I remember seeing, they said, get out any way you can, just get out. And I remember seeing someone crawling over the seats to get out. And I was just thinking, well, that's just rude, wait in line.
I think that was Valley Collins.
Boom, 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 boom. And I remember as we're getting ready to go out onto that wing, I did not even realize I was stepping out onto a wing. I just thought I was stepping out of a doorway, and I didn't realize how big the drop was. So I'm stepping out of the wing, but as I'm going out, I turned around to Jim, and I said, and I'm gonna take my mic down, I'm never flying again!
I remember hearing something about, you know, trying to find a knife. I think Pam Siegel was in the same boat with you, and she talks about one of the...
Jeff.
Yeah, and Jeff, you want to just share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the slide raft that we were in, of course, had a tether that was to the airplane, the base of the door where it had been deployed. And we were having a hard time finding that survival knife that's meant to cut that lanyard to free us from being tied to the airplane. And it took Jeff a while. And what finally happened was one of the ferries had approached us. And Jeff had asked one of the deckhands, and he knew that they had carried knives with them for whatever reason they might need. And they tossed down a foldable knife to him. He cut the lanyard so we'd be free from the airplane.
Yeah, because at that point, the plane was starting
It was starting to sink further. I hoped the airplane would stay afloat about 30 minutes, and when we first started this episode, and that's about what it did.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I made a point to make sure that everyone was off the airplane by going up and down the aisles twice to make sure everybody was off. When we left the raft, I wanted to be the last one out of the raft. I felt that was literally my responsibility as captain, as pilot command, to make sure that everyone else was safe before I left. And then we were able to, and climbing up that rope ladder, it's about an 8 or 10 foot climb to the deck of the Thomas Jefferson. And my hands were so cold with what was going to be frostbite and just hypothermia, I couldn't feel my fingers. And so I had to stick my forearms into the rungs of the ladder they had deployed to try to climb up, and they helped me up the last little bit and pulled me on the deck. But even then I was trying to get a head count, and I kept trying in the raft. Of course, we couldn't see what was on the other side of the airplane. I tried from the ferry, but multiple vessels were picking up people and taking us to the New York side and the New Jersey side. So I was just desperate to get a head count, and it was not until 4 hours later at 7:30 that night in the hospital when one of our pilot union safety reps came in and said, it's official, 155. They had finally accounted for everyone. Some had gone home, some had gone to a hotel, a few had gotten on an airplane and flown on to Charlotte.
Right back to LaGuardia for some.
Right back to LaGuardia, yeah. So that's what it was.
So I'm going to shift gears and talk a little bit about kind of the after. You know, what's happened in the 15, 16 years after, you know, this happened. And so, you know, for anybody that's seen the film, or if you haven't seen the film, there's a little bit about that in there. Some of the passengers are talking about that life that they've had after, and, you know, bonus life and bonus time. And, you know, Clay, you talked a little bit about, you know, this is the end, you know, when you were on the flight. But Sully, for you, you know, I understand that you never really thought this is the end when it was happening. And so how have you thought about the years since, and what's been the, you know, what's been sort of the mission that you've taken on since that day?
You're right. I never thought I was going to die that day. I was concerned that somebody else might fall in the water and drift away and drown and not be noticed. But the years since then have given me a different, fuller, bigger life than I could ever have had before. Because this happened in daylight in New York City in the internet age. In fact, I'm told that one of the first tweets ever was about us being in the river. We put Twitter on the map.
And Elon Musk thanks us for that.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's given me a greater voice to talk about important things that I've cared about my whole life, like the safety of everyone when we fly, and other things, you know, like the importance of protecting and defending our democracy. And so it's given me a chance to really have a chance to make a difference in my life. And we've done some things. Jeff Skiles and I have been Capitol Hill many times, and along with the families of the February 2009 Buffalo crash that claimed 50 lives, with the families there, we've been working to make aviation safer. The 2010 Aviation Safety Act was one of the biggest improvements in pilot experience, in training. There's still a lot of work to be done, but we have now done something I would not have thought possible 30 or 40 years ago. We have made aviation in the developed world ultra safe, where we go decades without a single crash.
And Beverly, what about for you? What's the last few years been like?
Well, people ask me, did it change me? Did it change my life? It didn't really change my life, but it did change me and how I look at life and appreciate everything. So I have I got to experience right after the crash or landing, a lot of firsts. So it was like I got to hit the reset button. And I remember that first year, I got it. Being able to celebrate, my first birthday, my first spring, my first fall, my first Christmas, my first anniversary. I got to experience everything as a first again and look at it with a new set of eyes. I look at every day as a blessing, and I'm thankful for each one. I don't look at it as bonus 15 years. I look at it as a bonus day, every day. And I look at I wake up every day and say thank you, thank you. And, things that I used to be would just aggravate me to death. I don't let the small things get to me anymore. No, I just don't. It's not worth it. And if I can bring, a smile or some joy to someone and share my story, then that's what I'll do and I'll keep doing. But I'm just thankful to be here and, again, every day is a gift.
Oh, thank you. And Clay?
You're really going to make me follow that.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I was going down the line.
I'll take a little different tack because everything she said is absolutely true for myself as well. You do appreciate every single day and you look at it. I had a couple of things. One, I had one grandchild in 2009. Now I have 13 grandchildren. So we have a lot to I said earlier that I was so scared, and I was scared for a couple of reasons. One, no control. Second, not understanding what was going on. So I used that to say, I want to get my pilot's license. I know it'll be an understanding at a very elementary level, but at least I'll have a little bit of an understanding when I fly as to what's actually happening. And so I did. I talked to Sully, I talked to Jeff, and they were very supportive in me going and getting my pilot certificate, which was really key, because if you are a pilot or you're training to be a pilot, it's a commitment. It's not something that you're just going to do in a matter of a few hours. To be a good pilot takes a long time and a tremendous amount of training. Every day you're learning something new. But I felt like it has helped, because it actually changed my perspective on what happened. Sully and I used to have some fairly robust conversations about it was a crash, no, it was an emergency landing, no, it was a crash, it was an emergency landing. Well, after having gone through the training, I realized, well, that, you know, they actually trained for that. I trained for that, for emergency landings. But they obviously did it at a much higher level than I did. And I do believe that if I had been a pilot before I got on the plane, that I would have been a whole lot more comfortable with because I would have had a better understanding that, okay, he's going to try to land in the river. Still would have been scared to death, but at least I would have had an understanding and realized, okay, he's got this. He's going to be able to, I would have the confidence that he would be able to execute it. And which obviously, he was, not surprisingly, he was right. It was an emergency landing.
Thank you all for being here as we open the Sullenberger Aviation Museum. We appreciate you taking the time to listen. A few other passengers and I will be back at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock for some more discussions. But until then, please enjoy the museum and enjoy your day out here. Thanks for coming.
I want to say one more thing.
Oh, yeah?
That never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I'd have a museum named after me, especially when I was still alive. So
thank you. And during the conference that we had, he had mentioned about the auxiliary power unit that he turned on, which really helped out, and it was in the back area. Shows it right here. Eventually it did drop off. You can see right here. Yeah, but this is it. Right here where the auxiliary power is located. So when he turned it on, it still maintained electric power, which really helped out in the rescue as well as having power to the plane itself. So if he turned that on immediately as fast as he could to get that going. So that really did help out with the aircraft. I did need to get a shot of this. This will be opening next year. It'll have more aircraft in it, so they're still working on it. That's one of the old hangars right there. And I'm not sure if they may have moved it over here. I can't remember if it's here or not. I could be completely wrong, but this will open next year. And over that way, earlier I showed you some of the airplanes across the way. Those are the ones that they will move in over here. So there'll be a lot more to see. So you're going to get your money's worth, that's for sure, when you come here and see this wonderful museum. I wanted to show you some of the swag they have here too. Some of the, it's like Tommy Bahama style shirts with the aircraft on it. Yeah, Calahio, I think that's the name. But also check out the hats. Love these right here. I got the Sullenberger Aviation Museum hat. Got some of their aircraft, but I had to pick up my favorite, which is the P-51 Mustang. Yeah, you know, kind of cool shirts here. You got puzzles and models. They had all kinds of die casts of the aircraft. Look, space shuttle. There's that F4 right there. Good die cast bombers here and fighter planes. People are checking out. Got plushies. More die casts right here. Got Air Force One. It'd be a great little thing to start a collection of aircraft. There's a over on Wilbur Wright's aircraft. So you can go from that to the latest and greatest aircraft. But all kinds of great swag here. Very nice. So it's $24 for adults. Seniors are 20. Military veterans are 20. Children 15 to 17 or 18. And it's free for kids under 5. So this time we're heading back to the parking lot in class. And this is a really nice bus. Yep. And it was a fun day today. Had a great time. There's Charlotte way over there in the distance. And it's a nice day today too. The high is only like in the 70s. Well, that was a great experience. No one knew that Captain Sully would be here at all, and he showed up, and we get to see him and some of the passengers. We get to meet them.
Right.
And most of them live here locally, which was pretty cool.
And we got to speak with all of them but Sully. Of course, Sullenberger, we weren't able to speak to him personally, but we spoke to the manager here. He's one of the passengers, and 2 other passengers.
Yeah, we spoke with Brian.
We
spoke with Beverly.
Right.
And Clay.
Right.
Yeah, they were all on the flight out of New York City coming to Charlotte.
Right.
And thankfully, yeah, it was definitely a miracle. No one got hurt. Everybody got home, and now they're here, so which is awesome. And behind us, that C-130 was actually a part of the Iranian hostages were brought home to America. So that's got some history. So it's a cool aircraft.
Right.
Be sure to check it out. So you guys take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.